Hey, what is going on, guys? This is DK back at you with another video here to break down this two-game Monday night slate. So, before I get into that, real quick, I want to go over my lineup from yesterday, my main slate lineup. So, this is what I ended up with for cash games: Kyler Murray, Dalvin Cook, McCaffrey, Larry Fitzgerald, Godwin, Samuel, OJ Howard, Chris Carson, Cowboys. So, at the quarterback position, I was really considering three guys, which I talked about was Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, and Jacoby Brissett. It didn't look good early for Kyler. I was nervous. I had a 2v2 pivot. It was Kyler Murray and Fitzgerald versus Lamar Jackson and D.D. Westbrook. Ended up going with Kyler and Fitz, and that honestly did not look good at all to start. But he made up for it at the end. Went to overtime too, so got a bit lucky there. But Kyler was solid. The running backs, I talked about Dalvin Cook, he's going to be the most popular. McCaffrey is my favorite spend up, and Chris Carson, you guys know I really liked him. Wide receivers, I talked about Fitzgerald, talked about Godwin, he's going to be popular. Samuel, a little disappointing, but it was really the Christian McCaffrey show. The pivot I talked about for Curtis Samuel was Jameson Crowder, so hopefully some of you guys played him. So he had like 14 or 15 catches, something crazy like that. OJ Howard was a bit disappointing in the Cowboys D. So, pretty solid overall. First week for the NFL. My GPP lineup did not do that good though. I stacked the San Francisco Tampa Bay game, and that was it was a shit show. So, but yeah, this more than made up for the GPP lineup. So yeah, pretty solid pretty happy with that. And let's get into the trying to break down this Monday night slate. So real quick, we got two games: Houston, New Orleans, first one, and then Denver, Oakland. The over/unders pretty different in both games. Houston, New Orleans is 52.5, while Denver, Oakland is 42.5. So just for me, I want to get a lot of exposure to this first game. It's in the Dome. New Orleans play fast pace. Houston, same thing. So I want a lot of exposure to this game. So we'll start quarterback. Deshaun Watson is at the top at 6.8. I think he's probably my favorite quarterback just because he has that rushing upside. And yeah, this one should be back and forth affair. So I do like Deshaun Watson a good amount here at 6.8. If you can't get Deshaun Watson, I really like Drew Brees as well. He's a guy that, in a really high, fast-paced game, you can't go wrong with. The only thing is he doesn't have that rushing upside like Deshaun Watson, but Drew Brees definitely still viable here at 6.2. The other two quarterbacks in the late game, I just really don't think you have to go there. Like, I'm just crossing them off. Carr and Flacco, it's just, I really don't think you have to go there on this two-game slate. So, yeah, it's really Watson or Brees for me, and that's it. As far as running back goes, we got Kamara way at the top here at 8.5. If you can find the salary to get him, this guy just has so much upside. The Saints said, though, they don't want to give him too much work. Like, they're going to give it, a good amount of work to Latavius Murray. So, hamper the expectations a little bit. But, Kamara can still get you there with, like, 70% of the touches easily. So, you really can't go wrong with Kamara at 8.5. Duke Johnson's the next highest guy at 6K flat. So it's going to be him, him and Carlos Hyde. It sounded like Carlos Hyde's going to get the early down work, while Duke Johnson will get the passing down work. Same thing I've talked about last few times with, PPR backs. They have more upside, while the guys with the early down work are a little safer, but a little less upside. So that's kind of my thoughts too. Duke Johnson, obviously pretty expensive here at 6K. But I definitely still think he is viable because he does have that PPR upside. As far as Philip Lindsay, it sounded like it's going to be, a split between him and Royce Freeman. Philip Lindsay last year got a lot of the work, while Royce Freeman not so much, but it sounded like it's going to be more of a split. I think they're okay, but probably not going to be the way I go. An interesting play here is Josh Jacobs at 5K just because it was unknown. We got no Antonio Brown now, so Oakland's really going to have to probably rely on Josh Jacobs a good amount. So, again, a little unknown here, but 5K I think is pretty viable. Okay, the game is lower over-under, but Josh Jacobs is a guy that I am considering for sure. Latavius Murray, I like this play a good amount. He's going to play the Mark Ingram role, so probably going to get about 30% of the work or so. And you saw what Mark Ingram did last year with that amount of work. I mean, you can definitely get you there. 4.1K is just too cheap. So I do like Latavius Murray a good amount here at 4.1K. Carlos Hyde, again, probably the safer of the two, 3.9K. We'll get the early down work. So I think he's a pretty solid value play here. So yeah, I mean, I think Duke Johnson definitely still has some upside, but he's 6,000 compared to 3,900 for Hyde. So we live in a world of salary cap. So I think Carlos Hyde is actually a solid value play here. Other guys, I mean, Richard will be the number 2 guy. He's a PPR specialist, but I don't know how much work he'll get. I mean, I think he's worth a look there, I guess, 3.6. But below that, there's really no one else. So let's move on to wide receiver. So wide receiver, it's pretty clear cut for me. It's the top 2 guys and then everyone else. I really want to get these top 2 guys in my lineup. DeAndre, Michael Thomas. 8K for DeAndre, 7.8 for Michael Thomas. Again, 52.5 over under. Both these guys should eat. So really like DeAndre, really like Michael Thomas. You can get them both in there. And then the next tier below, Emmanuel Sanders will be the number 1 guy for Denver, coming back from injury. I think he's an okay play at 5.5. He is getting up there in age with 31 or 32 now. But yeah, I think he's perfectly fine here at 5.5. Will Fuller, 5.3. He's a guy that kind of boom or bust. He's a guy that will go for those long routes. So kind of like a Ted Ginn Jr., who I'll get to in a sec. A little boom or bust, but I think he's in play at 5.3. Courtland Sutton at 4.5. I think it's okay. If I was going to play someone in Denver, though, a receiver would be Emmanuel Sanders. I'll just pay a little extra. But I think Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton, they're okay. And now you got Terrell Williams at 4.4. He's going to be the number 1 receiver for Oakland with no Antonio Brown. So that's good. I mean, 4.4K for a number 1 receiver, I'll take that all day. So I think Terrell Williams is, a solid value play here. No issue with him at all. Again, number 1 receiver, 4.4K. I think that's definitely doable. Then Ted Ginn Jr. again, kind of like Will Fuller, a little boomer bust. Not going to really get a lot of PPR action. Going to go for those long passes. So I think he's okay at 4.1K. Then the number 3 receiver for Houston, it's kind of interesting right now. So Kiki Kuti, this is someone to keep an eye on. He's listed as questionable. He's a slot receiver. If he plays, I think he's okay. It would just worry me with the ankle injury. But if he's out, then you could look to a guy like Kenny Stills, who I'd assume would fill in there. Kenny Stills obviously got traded over from Miami. So yeah, I think even if Kiki Kuti plays, then Kenny Stills does get some action. But how much? I don't know. Like, he's listed behind. He's like the number 4 receiver right now. So that's the situation to keep an eye on for sure. Then you got Traquan Smith at 3.8. He's going to be the number 3 receiver for New Orleans. I think he's definitely viable here at 3.8. Again, Ted Ginn's kind of that boomer bust. Michael Thomas is obviously the stud. But I think Traquan Smith at 3.8K is a pretty solid value play as well. And then right below him, you got Hunter Renfrow, going to be playing out of the slot. I don't think Antonio Brown leaving really changes his role much. He's still going to be a slot receiver. But I think he's pretty solid value play here at 3.6K. I do like him a decent amount here. As far as the number 2 receiver for Oakland, like outside of Williams, it's going to be a combination of J.J. Nelson, Dwayne Harris, and Ryan Grant. Yeah, that situation is probably going to be one I'm going to stay away from, that other outside receiver from Oakland. I just really don't think we have to take a shot there. So unless we get clear definitive news of one guy's going to be like the guy, that I'm going to kind of stay away for now. Let's move on to tight end. So the clear-cut option here is Jared Cook at 4.9K. Again, Cook was solid for Oakland last year. Now he gets a huge boost in New Orleans in the Dome. Yeah, you can't go wrong there at 4.9K. Below him, though, I do like this play a good amount, is Darren Waller. So a guy that they're really high on this year. And obviously Antonio Brown out of there. Oakland doesn't have many options for receivers. So they really have Tyrell Williams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and that's basically it. So I do like Darren Waller a good amount here at 3.4K. I think that opens up a lot and gets you a lot of other guys, a lot of studs. So I think Darren Waller pretty solid there. Noah Fant, I mean, it's going to be a combination of him and Hewerman. Probably going to do a wait and see approach for now. Noah Fant probably is the better pass catching tight end, but I'm going to take a wait and see approach. Let's go to Houston real quick, I guess, for tight end. So this is going to be Darren Fells, going to be the first string tight end, but he's not really a pass catching tight end. He's kind of like just out there for blocking. They still have Jordan Atkins and Jarrell Adams. Both these guys are better pass catching tight ends, but again, I'll probably take a wait and see approach here to see who gets more action. So I don't think we have to risk it with one of those guys. And then finally, let's go to defense. So you guys know I want a lot of exposure to this early game, so probably can't go with a defense there again. Can the Texans or the Saints defense get like a pick six and then that works out for you? Yeah, it can definitely happen. But I'm just going to go for the lower under. This game's like 42 and a half. So Broncos, Raiders, either or. If you can get up to the Broncos, I think they're probably the better option, but the Raiders at 2.3, I think that's definitely viable home defense. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts with defense. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you have been enjoying the content, I'd really appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe if you haven't. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below. It's also really important to follow me on Twitter. It will be in the description below. I will give my thoughts as we get more injury news. Really, the big one we're waiting on is Kiki Cutie. So if he's out, that would be a pretty big boost to Kenny Stills. And yeah, I'll be back for another video. I'll break down the showdown slate on Thursday. So I will see you guys then.